Last month, the Australian government awarded Austal a $1 billion contract to design and build 18 landing craft medium for the Australian Army. This acquisition is a key part of Australia's broader strategy to transform the Army from a traditionally land-focused force into one that is maritime capable. So what exactly can the LCM do, and how will it enhance the Army's operational capabilities? Let's find out in today's video. The LCM is part of the first phase of the Land 8710 Littoral Maneuver Program, the Army's roadmap for replacing its Vietnam-era LCM-8 watercraft with a modern fleet capable of independent blue water operation. Following the 2023 Defense Strategic Review, the program was expanded and accelerated to transform the Army into a force capable of conducting long-range littoral maneuver across the Indo-Pacific. As a direct result of this review, the Army created the Littoral Lift Groups, which will support the Army's ability to fight and move across the island chains of Australia's northern approaches. 3 groups were established in Darwin, Townsville, Cairns, and Brisbane, each co-located with one of the Army's major combat brigades to provide organic sea transport capability. Unlike the Navy, which handles amphibious assault with the Canberra class, the Army's LLGs focus on littoral maneuver. This includes moving an entire battle group from bases in Australia to an island in the Pacific without needing the Navy transport ships, transporting long-range strike units to remote islands to create anti-access bubbles, as well as distributing logistics directly onto beaches or river systems. And that's where the LCM and the larger LCH play a part. They are central to the ADF and particularly the Army's ambitions to operate effectively in littoral environments and deliver impactful projection. The LCM will serve as the group workhorse, transporting tanks, armored vehicles, and logistics, while the LCH will be the spine, acting as the command and control hubs and long-range transport for the group. For the Phase 1A for the landing craft medium requirements, several competitors were showcasing their designs to replace the Army's fleet of LCM-8, until eventually a design from an Australian company, Birdon, was selected. The design was chosen because it significantly exceeded the original requirements, particularly in terms of range and heavy lift capacity. It's a blue water-capable landing craft designed for open ocean operations rather than limited ship-to-shore transit like the LCM-8. However, it's not without troubles though. The LCM was supposed to be ready in 2026, but it faced delays due to immature design risk, so the contract could only be signed last December. Their design was the largest offering for the LCM program at nearly 60 meter long, a beam of 10.5 meter, displacing around 500 tons, and will be able to transport a payload of up to 94 tons. Birdon's official even said that their LCM design can carry an 80-ton payload in excess of 2,000 nautical miles at a sea state 4 condition and still hold 20% fuel reserve. On top of that, it includes integrated crew accommodation and a galley, providing the crew with spaces to sleep, eat, and shelter from the elements, enable sustained operations over days or even weeks at a time. A giant leap in quality of life improvement for the crew over the LCM-8, which is essentially an open-top steel box. Now, why does the Australian Army need it? The Australian Army is undergoing its most significant transformation to date, shifting its focus from land-centric conflicts such as those in the Middle East to being optimized for coastal and littoral operations around Australia's northern approaches and the Pacific Islands, in some respects similar to the Marines. Previously, Australia assumed it would have 10 years to prepare for a major war. But after the war in Ukraine started and China's increasingly assertive behavior, especially around Taiwan and the South China Sea, this is no longer true. In the face of a growing Chinese presence in the region, the Army needs a capability to transport its equipment that is ready now and can self-deploy to the first island chain without waiting for Navy support. This capability gap is increasingly apparent in the Talisman Sabre drills last year, when neither the Army nor the Navy possess any capability that could deploy logistics and assets to a forward location in the Pacific, and the landing craft attached to the Canberra class could not carry the Army's 70-plus ton Abrams Heavy 3 tanks. The 90-ton capacity LCM could easily handle that weight. A peer adversary like China has long-range missiles capable of striking ships from afar. and the Navy's amphibious ships like the Canberra class is a prime target. The LCM allows the Army to disperse into multiple independent units, making it harder for the enemy to locate and destroy the entire force. Moreover, the Pacific War 2.0 is likely to happen again in remote areas with just coral reefs, sandbars, and rocky shores with limited or without port facilities. The Canberra class is going to need a ship-to-shore connector to unload, either with LCUs or LCACs from a safe distance, while the LCM and LCH, which will be based on the Damen LST-100 design, can just beach themselves. Furthermore, as the Army shifts its operational focus, it requires a flexible means of transport to rapidly reposition its strike forces. Long-range land-based systems such as HIMARS or NSM must be constantly moved between islands to establish maritime denial zones. The LCM is effectively a mobile missile pad for these systems. Australia's future battlefront, the Pacific Theater, is massive. It spans half the Earth, and supply lines are thousands of kilometers long. 99% of the theater is ocean, so every piece of equipment, from bullets to tanks, must be moved by a boat or a plane. It took days or even weeks for heavy sea lift to reach the front from major bases against an adversary operating from its own backyard. Then there's the scale. There are hundreds of islands, atolls, coral reefs, and sandbars in the Pacific, makes it impossible to defend every single one. That's why, in my opinion, the Army's decision to give up its long-standing balancing force structure in favor of being optimized for coastal movement operations is daring but spot on, because a traditional land army will simply fail in this theater. While having major surface ships could bring a greater number of troops, equipment, and supplies, often under escort by combatants, such fleets would also be the first and most attractive targets in a conflict. So having a low-profile means of transport that can be dispersed and act independently are keys to winning a logistic battle in the Pacific Theater. From what I see, the Birdon LCM design is perfect for this task. It has a high capacity and unrivaled range to carry everything in the Army's inventory independently for long distances, doesn't need port facilities to disembark its payload, has facilities for the crew to live on board for weeks during long operation. Also, it enhances the Army's long-range land-based strike capability. The $1 billion spent on 18 boats might be a steep price for me as an outsider, but as long as it can become an insurance policy for Australia to defend its strategic interests and, more importantly, its people, then it's worth it. What do you think about Birdon's LCM design and Australia's Littoral Maneuver program? Should the Army build more and, if possible, make it autonomous? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.